Well, I'm really happy to be here and meet these interesting people. I want to talk about the 4 Degrees of Love by St. Bernard. Now, St. Bernard was, the great Cistercian saint. I belong to the Cistercian order, which was founded in 1098. And Bernard came in very soon after that, and he was just a very gifted and charismatic person. And under his leadership, the order just flourished. So he did a lot of writing, and he has 86 homilies on the Song of Songs. But I'm going to take a very short treatise, which the 4 Degrees of Love. The first degree of love is to love yourself for your own sake. What? Yeah, that's what he says. Love yourself for your own sake. Because how are you going to love your neighbor as yourself if you can't love yourself to start with? And I think one of the big problems now is people don't know how to love themselves. Very likely it's because they've never been loved. And you learn to love yourself by being loved. And if you've had such a gift, you've had parents who have loved you. St. Bernard would put it in the context of revelation, and that is through the love God has for us, we learn how to love ourselves. Now, we might come back to that at the end. But certainly, how you love yourself is another question. Do you love a facade that you've created for other people to be loved by? Or do you love the inner heart in which you're true to yourself, to your conscience, and to other people? Well, so much for that. So the first degree is a love of self for your own sake. Then the second degree is to love God for my own sake. I mean, I can't get by in life without God. And there comes a point where you realize that you're not doing it all on your own. Of course, you have the help of other people. But ultimately, it's God who guides you through life. And you need God. You have to depend on God. So you love God because the good he has given you, all the blessings that come in, just creation itself is a blessing. So you love God for that sake. Then the third degree is after you've had this experience, of maybe even communicating with God, saying prayers, petitions, give me this, give me that. Well, you see the goodness of God coming through, then you begin to realize the goodness of God, and you love God for God's own sake. And that's the true love, to love God for God's own sake. Why do you love God? For God's sake. And what is the measure of love? It's immeasurable. And so this is the step from the new step into the third degree of love. And that can, and that's the whole purpose of the contemplative life, the ascetical life, is to purify that love. So you really only love God for God's own sake, not for my sake. So then you begin to slough off a lot of nonsense. Now, the fourth degree of love is you love yourself for God's sake. I want to love everything God loves. God loves other people, God loves my neighbor, and God loves the people I disagree with. Maybe God loves my enemy, so who am I to judge? And then I begin to love what God loves me. So I love myself for my own sake. Not for my own sake, but for God's sake. and I begin to love as God loves. And really, you only come to that fully in the resurrection, because as long as we're in this body, we have so many needs, so much self-interest we have to attend to, and well, this is just the condition we're in. So he has a whole treatise on the resurrection. I would like to take a little jump into Meister Eckhart. To me, this was kind of a manifestation of Meister Eckhart is the Dominican of the, 15th century or something. My history is not too clear. But here's a passage that comes from Meister Eckhart, which I think gets you really deep into that fourth degree of love. God delights in you as God. In all my teaching, there is one truth I've never yet said, and it is this: God delights in God's self. And this truth belongs to God delights in us with this same delight. But there's more. God delights in us not as creatures, but rather delights in us as creatures who are God. This sounds outrageous, I know, and it is. And in this outrage lies the heart of joy. Mm.